So, you guys know I have a lot of work to do before I graduate this spring because I plan on hitting the road right after. So, the van has to be ready. And then, I'm just kind of commencing my whole life at that point. So, for the last couple months, kind of beginning in the fall, actually, no, even before that, obviously, I've been a little stressed about that, just trying to figure out what it is I'm going to do with my life after I set out on the road. Like, I know I want to make music, but exactly what does that look like? What do I want to accomplish? So, yeah, that's been a little intimidating. Now I'm at a better point where I've narrowed my sights down to even nearer goals. I'm not thinking about what I'm going to do after I set out on the road and, who am I going to be a bum? I'm not really thinking about all that stuff too much. It's not really worrying me. I'm thinking about the few specific things I want to accomplish that I want to have done by this May when I graduate. The first one I already mentioned is having the van road ready. So it's fully kitted out, the electrical system, the solar panels, the fridge, the lights, everything's ready to go. I got my bed set up, desk, and that's just ready to hit the road. Second thing is I want to put out an album, and that's going to come out around the same time, about a week or two before graduation, so that I can spread the word, build up the hype, and tell people at school and whatnot. This goal is really important to me, obviously, because I am a musician and this is the first ever culmination of this size of my work. It's the first ever album display of my work. So obviously this goal is hugely important, but it's also hugely terrifying because, like I said, it's my first album. I need it to be to a certain standard because, like, the van is easy enough. Like, you gotta do physical labor, put in the hours, and figure out how to like wire stuff and construct a bed and build and put that kind of stuff together. But at least it's a clear like step by step of like what part do I build next. And also, it's not like my heart's not in it. I'm not an electrician, and I'm not a carpenter. So if the bed isn't perfect and if the wiring isn't perfect, as long as it's functional, I'm like, all right, that's cool. As long as I can live in it. With this album, it's not so. I am a musician, and when it comes to that, when it comes to my own craft, I am a perfectionist. I need it to be just right, especially because it's the first one. And the reason making this album is more of a challenge than some of the previous stuff I've done, the EPs, the couple of singles I've put out, is because my style has really changed over the years. Going from originally being like strictly rap music when I was starting out in late elementary school, middle school, it's slowly been evolving over the years to be more melodic, and became less afraid of the idea of singing, and I kind of dipped my toes in the water with that over the years. But now I'm in a place where I strictly write songs like while sitting with my guitar. I write them as I'm playing my guitar. The way I used to make songs is I would either have lyrics written, like if it was a rap song, and then I would try to fit them onto a beat that I made. And then as I slowly started to do the more kind of melodic stuff, if I would have guitar in a song, I would record the guitar on top of like some digital drum loop, and it would be like a guitar beat. It would still essentially be like a rap beat, and then I would try to think of some lyrics, and it would be really kind of basic because the lyrics were only founded upon that beat. It wasn't just an idea kind of born with a guitar. It was more about the melody than the lyrics sometimes. Not always. I'm not trying to clown on that music. I'm still proud of the previous stuff I've made, but it's just that I'm at another level now, and so I need to step up to be able to meet that new standard. Anyway, recording the new type of music that I'm making is so much more painful because honestly, a lot of these songs I've been carrying around for months, years. Some of these songs that are going to be on this album, I think the oldest one is like going on 3 years old because I wrote them at times when I wasn't in a place to like be recording music. I had other stuff going on, so I would just sit down with my guitar, mess around, find something really cool, kind of record it as a voice memo, always thinking in the back of my head like, oh, I'm coming back to this. This is going to be on this album that I'm making. I already knew about this album years ago. I knew I was going to be making it. And so some of these songs have been bouncing around in my head for a while now. So I'm really attached to them, and I'm really attached to the specific way that I've been hearing them for so long, which is not helpful in the recording process because when you're recording, it's hard to make something sound exactly the way you hear it in your head. And also, as you start to record it, you're bound to not get it perfect right away. And so as you start to put it down and you record the guitar and you're like, that doesn't sound like how I want it to sound. It's really painful, frustrating. And then you record some vocals and you're like, it's not even, I can't even get this right. And basically I'm just whining. Like, this is, there's hard parts of any process, you just have to push through it. But like I was saying, when it's something that you care about so much, when you're working on your thing, it's different because you need it to be perfect. It's almost easier to be disciplined at something you don't really care about that much because you have less skin in the game. You're like, I'm just gonna work, and just for the sake of it. But I have a tendency to get tripped up in the process of trying to record, and it's not sounding how I want, and I tend to get a little discouraged with that. But I'm kind of changing that habit. I'm saying to myself now, I'm not closing this laptop for the next couple hours. I'm just going to sit here. I don't care what happens. I'm not going to judge what I'm recording. I'm just going to put something down. And at the end of the day, if it's no good, at least I will have put the effort in. And so I've really been putting this into practice over this last week. And I will say it's actually been pretty cool so far. I mean, I sat down to record one of the songs for the album. And as usual, it started off being very frustrating. I couldn't record the guitar to the metronome at first. It took a while. I couldn't really figure out how it was all going to be mixed and put together, the vocals and all that. I couldn't get a good vocal take. But that first day, I just kind of pushed through, recorded something, got a little demo down, and just kind of saved it, closed my laptop. And I actually did feel good knowing that I had just worked on my craft. Even though I wasn't really happy with the way it came out, I was like, dang, I spent the last couple hours doing what it is I want to be doing, making this album. Even if it's not going to end up on the album, I put in the effort towards it. Came back the next day, polished it up a little, redid some of the guitar takes, redid some vocal takes, and in playback I was thinking, okay, this is actually starting to be something. Like, it sounds kind of cool. Put in some more work that day. Came back the next day, had the same thing happen again where I'm like, okay, I just added a new little thing. I like that a little better. So anyway, I've been devising an actual kind of routine to really get this album underway. And I feel like it's starting to come together, which I'm excited about. This album is going to be good. It's going to be the best thing I've ever made. And it's going to be maybe the best thing you've ever heard. And because I have these specific, very time-oriented goals that I need to accomplish by May, I recently have been using a new tool to help me kind of track what it is I'm doing, plot it out. And I said that like it was going to be something crazy. It's just a calendar, and it really has just been helping me visualize the weeks that go by. Because if you're someone like me, I always feel like time is just slipping and I don't even really remember what I did. I'm like, it's a weird thing. I could be at any given point of the year, and you ask me what happened 3 weeks ago, and I'm like, well, I went out to dinner. What day was that? But with this, I've only been doing it for a couple weeks, but just writing down on the calendar, like, either what I want to do in the next couple of days, or after the fact, going back and writing what I did, and then crossing that day off. It's actually really helpful to just be like, okay, this is what I did, this is what I did. And when I look at it that way, I'm actually pretty happy with the amount of effort I'm putting into this. Otherwise, sometimes I feel like I forget what work I put in, and I'm like, man, am I doing enough? If I look at it this way, I'm able to see, okay, I did good that day. Like, I made progress. I remember that. I remember making that video. I remember that practice session, that open mic. That day I spent mixing and recording. That day I had work. That day maybe I could have done a little more, managed my time better. But it's just really helpful to see exactly where my hours went, instead of feeling like they just kind of floated away. So I'm definitely going to keep up with this calendar because I'm not the most organized guy by instinct. But it's been helping me. And so yeah, I feel like I'm really starting to pick up steam. I know what I need to do, and I kind of know how I'm going to do it, and I know when it's going to happen. It's a little stressful because I only have a couple months to get these things done, record this album. Luckily, most of the songs are already written, and I have an idea of how they're going to sound, but I like a little pressure. I mean, how else do you make a diamond? If I didn't have this deadline of May, where I'm finally getting booted out of high school, I'm getting booted out of the house, I'm hitting the road. I don't know, if this album would have come out so urgently. Actually, I know that it wouldn't have, to be honest, because I'll admit it, like I said, this album's been floating around in my head for 2 years at least now. I mean, this was when I always kind of knew it was going to come out. I really did. Like, it's the culmination of my high school experience. But the fact that I haven't really been recording it until now, that's because of the pressure. So I appreciate the pressure in that sense. It's nice to have high stakes sometimes. It makes things feel a little more exciting. It gets you moving. I'm not mad about it. And now that I'm actually taking strides towards this life that I've only dreamed about up until now, like making music, hitting the road, living in a van until I'm recognized, famous, it's becoming less scary and just more real. I was about 14 when I first started having these ideas of not really wanting to go to college and instead wanting to do just like stuff that I thought was fun. I always knew I wanted to be a musician, definitely. But at that time, it was really just a dream because I knew it would be really hard to not go to college the way I've set myself up at school, like being really always having good grades. My parents just kind of expected me to go. And so I was kind of just thinking like, man, this is a dream. This would be awesome if I could just not go to college and just chase my dream right out of the gate. But at that time I was thinking, no way, I'm actually going to do that. The dream of it terrified me, telling my parents that, telling family that. I was picturing myself at like graduation parties and, your family's going to ask, what are you doing after high school? And if I told them, oh, I'm going to be, working minimum wage jobs until I'm famous, they're going to be like, well, you better have a backup plan. That's what I was really afraid of. And, over the course of high school, last couple of years, my mentality's changed, of course, and I just have kind of come to the conclusion of like, I just don't care. Like, this is the only chance I have, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do exactly what I want to do. And I said to myself, I'm gonna be ready to take the repercussions. I'm gonna be ready to take the kind of shaming from all the adults that warn me about what I'm gonna do. But the surprising thing I've come to find so far is that really no one has been wagging their finger at me. Like, pretty much everybody I've told about living in the van, making the music, pretty much everyone has approved. Everyone's been like, that's awesome. Maybe a couple exceptions, funny looks, but for the most part, people are kind of inspired or at least curious about what it is I'm doing. I think personally it's because everyone likes a good story, especially when it's not their own skin in the game. Like, that's why that's why you watch a movie. It's because it's, you feel the stakes are high, but it doesn't affect you at the end of the day. So I think when people hear about me, especially like non-family members, about what I'm going to do, I think they're encouraging because they're like, shoot, that's going to be at least interesting, And they know me too. They know I'm a hard worker. I'm not just I don't just talk about it. I do it. So it's just been an interesting realization. The fact that I had these made up enemies in my head. I had the vision of people telling me, oh, you're going to fail. You need a backup plan. The truth is that people in life are like rarely that outwardly disapproving. People are rarely like to your face telling you that you're an idiot, which, kind of makes it harder in some situations because you're wondering if people are holding back thoughts, what they really think about you. But the truth is that even if they are thinking negative thoughts about you, they kind of don't really care that much. Everyone is so instinctively worried about themselves that even if they have a few funny thoughts about you, that's all it is. Like, they think, oh, that's a weird guy, and then move on. Like, nobody cares. It really, at the end of the day, is you that is your biggest enemy. You are the biggest one in your own way. Just all these little stupid thoughts you have about what is this person going to think? What is this, what am I going to do? What am I going to be? All this static that you create for yourself is really the number one reason your dreams don't come to fruition. You can chalk it up to logic or circumstance, but at the end of the day, you made your decisions. And it is you that got in your own way. Even if your whole family shunned you and everyone made fun of you for doing the thing that you really want to do, the thing that you're passionate about, who cares? They're not going to hurt you for it. I mean, as long as you're living in America, as long as you're living in a free country, I'm lucky enough to be. You're not going to be physically hurt for chasing your dreams. So what is it that you're afraid of? And, really actually take a while to answer that. There is no, you get to the bottom of it and you're like, I don't actually know what I'm afraid of here. It's just fear for fear's sake. It's like other people's fears. It's what you've heard. And then imagine it the other way. Imagine if you really disappointed your parents by, let's say, not going to college and becoming a musician. Yeah, we'll just use my own example. Imagine if your parents were going to be really disappointed by that. And so you went to school and you became a lawyer instead. And that satisfied them. Your parents were pretty content and proud of the fact that you had followed the straight and narrow and you had secured a good place for yourself in the world, a house, a family, and you're self-sustaining. And then imagine that they died because, statistically, they're probably going to die before you. It's kind of how it's supposed to go, the cycle of things. And then you're just left with a job that you didn't want. You were just doing it to make them happy. And then what? At that point, I would imagine you'd have a pretty serious kind of problem on your hands. Your whole career would be making nobody happy. It just all circles back to the fact that you gotta do what you want to do. What else is there? All your reasons, all your circumstances that you think are set against you, it's not a valid excuse. At the end of the day, your dreams are just possible. They're just possible. If you want them to happen, they could. It's not a matter of destiny or fate or luck. They're either going to happen or they're not going to happen, and it's going to be a result of your decisions. So, I mean, it's not even a judgmental thing to say. Like, if you want to make them happen, make them happen. If you decide you don't, okay, don't. But whatever happens, it's going to be your fault. It's easy to feel like your life is just happening to you. But be conscious of the fact that you're making it happen.